Yeah, okay, so look, technically I'm not a Fed.
If you wanna be my lover,
Fucking diabolical.
Welcome to another Ouroboros review. Today we'll be doing the 1/6 scale Soosoo Toys Mr. Butcher, aka Billy Butcher from The Boys. And they nailed this guy. He looks awesome. And we'll get straight into it right now. Alrighty, here we have the box. Pretty cool box. It's kind of like stylized. It's like almost like an oil painting rendition of Mr. Butcher here. You can see Mr. Butcher written in blood or splattered with some blood. Soosoo Toys up the top there. It's a very thin box compared to a normal Hot Toy box. Mr. Butcher written on the side. The warning and notice, all that kind of stuff. And then the same with that. It's kind of like a background of a cityscape almost. You see like the roads over there, and he's kind of splattered with some paints and stuff, which looks quite nice. It is worth mentioning that the flap on the inside looks really cool too. I do like the look that's here. Very, what did you say to me, cunt? kind of look he's giving you with the crowbar over his shoulder. Looks really cool. And yeah, very, very nice. Alrighty, here we have all the accessories. So we have the 50 caliber that he uses to try and shoot translucent. We have an M4 decked out like crazy. So these are the M4 mags. We have an M4 grip as well as the 50 cal magazines. We have a diamond. I think this is a concrete driller, I think. We've got a sledgehammer. We've got a cattle prod. We have a crowbar, 4 sets of hands. We have a really creepy baby swap out head, and the compound V. The hands are painted nicely. Again, I did touch on how they don't really match with the color of the skin tone. It's just like a generic body, and then they've obviously painted this to match his face. But you can see that there's quite nice detail of veins, and the actual hands don't look kind of speckly, if that makes any sense. But it looks good. I like it. All right, but what we'll do now is we'll take a closer look at each individual accessory, and yeah, I'll show you some of the details of it all. All right, so here are the hands. We have 2 fisted hands, 2 like half-fisted but holding something hands, relaxed hands. I like that the relaxed hands are both different. I like the fact that you can use this one for maybe a gripping hand on one of the bottom of the weapons or something. And then we've got, I would call these trigger finger hands, because you can use them as trigger finger hands, but the way they are with how that gap between the index finger and the thumb, you can kind of have like something like this, like he's holding something, or fiddling around with one of the settings on the scopes of the weapons, you know, that kind of deal. But it looks good. All right, here we have the compound V. You can see it's filled with the liquid there, which is really cool. I was actually a little disappointed that it had that taper down at the bottom there, but it actually looks like that in the show, which is really nice. It's just a clear vial with some blue stuff in it. Looks really nice. Very well done for such a small item. And here we have the creepy baby. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's a creepy baby. It looks right into your soul. It's a nice job. It looks like a baby. I think it's just the fact that it's a 1/6 scale baby. It kind of looks a little strange. Big eyes, kind of like non-developed facial features, etc., etc. But it looks good. And then obviously you have the demon spawn swap out creepy eyes. But this is for a light up feature, which you just kind of tap on top of the head there. And it has the laser eyes. But it's a very, very sensitive mechanism. It kind of just pops open, and you can see that there. But yeah, it's a cool mechanism, but I think it's not necessarily needed. There we go, now it's lighting up. But yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks like a baby. The clothes look really cool, very nicely detailed kind of clothing. The wrinkles look nice. I reckon I could have a little collection of 1/6 scale babies. We have the child, then we have the child in the pram, then we have the child from the Obi-Wan Kenobi baby Luke, and now this one. So I reckon I'll just have all of them on a play date or something. And here we have the various whack-em tools. So we've got the sledgehammer, which looks really good. Kind of just 2 bits of paint, a nice metal paint job at the top there, a convincing job of wood design sculpted in there, but it looks nice. Then we have the cattle prod, which, yeah, it looks like a cattle prod. I think they could have done a little bit more wash on the handle, maybe a bit of paint chipping. You can see a little switch there. but it looks decent. And then we have the crowbar, which I think is the star of the show. It's got like rust marks on it. You can see all the rusting here. It looks really nice. I think they did a better job with the sledgehammer and the crowbar. Looks pretty good. Moving on to the next ones. And here we have the concrete drill. The drill bit looks convincing enough to look metal. And the workings on all of this look quite nice. Looks like something you'd pick up in a hardware shop. Again, a little bit of wash would have gone a long way at the top of most of these areas. Maybe a bit of paint scratching and scuffing. But yeah, no, it looks alright. For an accessory that you've never seen before in any 1/6 scale stuff, it looks good. And here we have the M4, which looks really, really good. Not much paint detail, but the sculpt on it is really nice. And the details to mechanisms is really cool too. You can almost fully customize it by pulling this. This slides back to cock it, just like that. This opens up. You see a little bit of detail in there. You can take the magazine out with nicely painted bullets in there. You can take the silencer off. And if you can't quite get Butcher into the right position for looking through the scope, this can be moved up or down, which is really cool. And then we also have this little grip at the bottom that just simply slides on here. And voila, you've got a fully customizable M4, which is phenomenal. It's absolutely crazy, especially the fact that this opens up and that can be cocked back. It actually moves. But how good's that? Really is a 1/6 scale, you know? You can see a little logo on the side there, and the sight is painted nicely over there, shiny green. Looks good. Very well done. The best part about these weapons is you can use it for other figures if you wanted to, such as Deadpool, for example, or even Leon from Resident Evil 2. But yeah, let's move on. And here we have one of the biggest weapons when it comes to firepower, which is the 50 caliber. Again, a few things you can do to this. The sight can move just like that. You can put it on and off, which is pretty cool. Looks very nice. I've held a gel blaster that was, I guess, 1-to-1 scale of a 50 cal, and this gun is massively chunky. It's huge, it's big, I love it. And you can see some of the details on the barrel there. It looks really nice. Again, this can pop out. And then you can see the bullets on the inside there. I kind of wish the tips were the carbon steel that translucent was made out of or turns into, which would be really cool, but that's okay. All three of them look the same with the M4, just like that. It's all the same piece, but the fact that you can have like one laying on the ground or almost like an arsenal of weaponry on a table, which would be pretty cool. So that pops out, and this does a nice little job at springing back as a reload system. And the other side, you can see the safety switches over there. Looks really cool. Same kind of deal. The scope is painted this purpley kind of lens, which looks really nice. But yeah, looks really cool. And then you can also, like I mentioned before, have him kind of adjusting the sight or something like that. You know, even holding that back like so, just to show it off a bit. But yeah, very cool. All right, and here we have Mr. Butcher. Very cool. I like the tailoring in this is amazing, but we'll go through that. But this is how it comes out of the box. You can see he's obviously got the display stand, and his coat hides the display stand quite nicely, which I do like. But let's get into the details, shall we? Alrighty, and here we have the boots and pants and base. So I am aware that Soosoo Toys, this is my first Soosoo Toys, and I'm very happy with it. I couldn't ask for a better one. I know that all the Soosoo Toys gets this particular base with like the grating, the metal grating. Sometimes that's different colors, and then a logo in the middle here. And in this particular case, there's the boys logo written in white and then splattered with blood. Looks pretty cool. The boots are okay, like they are his boots. There's a little bit of weathering on it, but other than that, there's only two colors, which is the top part and then the sole of the boot. It leaves it wanting. There's not a lot of paint work in it. Although it is a more rubbery style material, articulation is pretty good on it. It's just the fact that there's not much paint work, and that's the only disappointing thing about this figure. The jeans look really good. They're just like standard kind of gray jeans or black jeans that does a really good job at showing that it is jeans, which is really nice. Let's flare this open so I can show you guys a little bit more. All right, and here we have the top part of his torso. There's not that much detail in this figure purely because it's not a fantasy style figure. It's just a realistic style where the clothes are very realistic. There's not much to it besides the tailoring, really. You can see he's got like this Hawaiian shirt, which is really cool, very realistic to the show. You can actually take it off and give him a whole new look, which is pretty cool. And then you can see that he has a belt on his jeans, which looks good. The Hawaiian shirt looks really nice. It suits his figure quite a bit, shows off that he is a muscular character, which it does in the show too, which is really cool. The jacket is a really nice earthy green. I think it was a little bit darker in the show, and there was a little bit of tape over here where obviously there would have been a tear and he just put some duct tape over it. But other than that, it's really nice. A little bit of weathering would have been really good because they go through some serious shit in the show, so a little bit of weathering would have been nice. But yeah, it looks really nice. I'll take the jacket off and show you guys what he looks like. And here we have him without his jacket. Slips off nicely. I like it when you can take the clothing off without having to take his fists or his hands off, which is nice. A lot of the time you need to take it off completely. I know that you have to do that with Stan Lee figure. For example, I have to take his hands off to get his jacket off. But in this case, you don't need to, but you can see his physique's quite muscular. I personally will keep his jacket on because there's a little bit of color variation between, I'm not too sure if you guys can make it up, between his hands and his arms, and then his neck and his face. The jacket does a nice job of hiding those color transitions because the collar is up on his neck, so you can't see it. And then obviously the jacket covers his seams on his elbows and wrists, so you can't see the color variation between his hands and his arms. I do like the fact that you can take it off and have that option. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Also, forgot to mention that his jacket has a shine to it, something that you would see polyester shine to give it that realistic look. And then at the bottom there's also a wire, which is really cool. I generally think it didn't need the wire, but it's nice to have that option if you do want him doing a dynamic pose. But yeah, the jacket looks really nice. And so does the Hawaiian shirt. Why the hell does such a beefy, buffy, badass mofo wear a fucking Hawaiian shirt? But yeah, let's move on to the head sculpt. All right, so here is the face sculpt, and man, did they nail it. You can really see it's the character, you can really see it's the actor, and he looks magnificent. There you can see the color difference between the neck and the head. He looks really, really good. He even has that little mole just there on his face, which looks really cool. Yeah, here we have him a little bit closer, and that shine in his eye, the fact that one eye is just that little bit extra higher, and that smirk, that cocky smirk that he has, looks amazing. The coloration and texture on his face looks great. You can see that scar across his forehead, all the wrinkles, beard line, all the hair follicles on his face looks amazing. And that smirk looks really good too. And the hair is sculpted awesomely as well. I don't think they could have done a better job, and I'm dead serious when I say I think this head sculpt is giving Hot Toys a run for their money. If Soosoo Toys or Toy Era or the third companies keep this up, Hot Toys is going to have some serious competition. I'm really impressed with this. Very, very impressed with this. Let's get the other head sculpt out here and show you what that looks like. All right, here we have his sadistic, smiling / laughing head sculpt, and this is kind of where they missed the ball a bit. It's still, you can still see in certain angles that it looks like the character and the actor, but there's just something off about it, and I'm not entirely sure what it is. I think it might be the flared out nostrils. But if you put the two head sculpts together, like this, you can see the difference with how it looks. I'm not entirely sure. He's got like a snarling nose and then wider eyes, and the smile looks pretty creepy. I think it might be the nose and the slightly more opened up eyes. But I'm happy that they included this head sculpt, but I think they didn't do as good of a job as they did with just the smirking head sculpt. But that mouth just looks amazing. That smile is really, really good. They nailed the wrinkles in his forehead and cheeks, especially because it's different on each side. It's not just one sculpt. The teeth look amazing too. There's nothing behind his mouth. It's not just painted black. There's actually nothing there, which is really cool. He also has a kind of like a foam padding on the inside of his mouth here on this head sculpt, and I reckon if I were to take that foam away, you could see straight through his mouth. The reasoning behind that is I've seen a review on this guy already from a guy that I really like to watch because he has a lot of similar interest to me, which is Justin's Collectables. Go check him out. He's a really cool figure reviewist, I guess. Again, back to the figure. It looks good, but not that good. I'm happy that it's in there. Let's just say that.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it.
Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It is an older release, but I had to get him. I'm super pumped for season 3, and if you haven't checked out this series, definitely do it. It is very gory. I would say it's one of the most realistic superhero things out there. First 2 seasons are up, 3 is coming out, and I am super pumped. And I want to get a Homelander for him, but the Soosoo Toys Homelander is coming out. It doesn't look the best. Costume looks amazing, but the face just, something's off about it. This face sculpt is so much better. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, leave a comment, please subscribe. Thank you to all my Patreons. This guy here is going to go up soon on Patreon of step-by-step on what I did with him. So if you guys want to check that out, subscribe to my Patreon and you'll get a shout out every video. Have a good day, have a good night, wherever you guys are. I'll see you in the next video.
I think that we've all had enough.